Chapter 1. The void screamed silently around the Iron Salvation, a strike cruiser of the Iron Hands chapter, its hull scarred from 100 battles. Brother Sergeant Korrak gripped the railing of the command deck, his augmented eyes scanning the hololith displaying the planet below. Arcturus IV, a forge world, was under siege. Orks had descended in a tide of green, their ramshackle war machines tearing through the planet's defenses. The Adeptus Mechanicus had sent a desperate plea for aid, and the Iron Hands had answered. Korrak's bionic arm whirred as he adjusted the hololith, zooming in on the primary hive city. Smoke rose from its spires, and the chatter of Vox reports painted a grim picture. Tech priests overwhelmed, Skitaria legions crumbling, and Ork warbands closing in on the central manufactorum. His squad, the Iron Talons, had been tasked with securing the facility's plasma core, a relic of the Omnissiah that could not fall into Xeno's hands. Brothers, Korrak's voice rasped through his helmet's Vox, cold and mechanical. We deploy in 30 minutes. The flesh is weak, but the machine endures. We will purge the greenskins and preserve the sanctity of Arcturus. His squad stood in the armory, their black and silver power armor gleaming under the flickering lumens. Brother Torvax, the heavy bolter specialist, checked his weapon's ammo feed with methodical precision. Brother Lurak, the youngest, adjusted the servo arm grafted to his back, its claw snapping with restrained power. The others, Dren, Valther, and the veteran apothecary Calvus, prepared in silence, their humanity long subsumed by cybernetic devotion to the machine. Korrak's gaze lingered on Lurak. The boy's flesh was still too prominent, his augmentations minimal. Weakness lingered in him, but there was no time to dwell. The drop pod's hatch hissed open, and the Iron Talons stepped into the darkness, ready to descend into the maelstrom below. Chapter 2. The drop pod screamed through Arcturus IV's ash-choked atmosphere, its hull glowing red from re-entry. Inside, Brother Sergeant Korrak and the Iron Talons braced in their harnesses, the pod's interior rattling with the fury of descent. The Vox crackled with fragmented reports from the surface, Ork war cries, the screech of metal, and the dying wails of Skitaria defenders. Korrak's tactical display pulsed with runes, marking their landing zone. A shattered plaza outside the manufactorum's gates. The pod slammed into the ground, its doors blasting open with a hiss of hydraulics. The Iron Talons emerged into a hellscape of fire and ruin. Ork sluggers roared, stitching the air with crude projectiles. Korrak's bolter barked in response, each shot punching through greenskin skulls with mechanical precision. "Form up," he ordered, his voice cutting through the chaos. The squad advanced in lockstep, their armor shrugging off stray rounds. Brother Torvax unleashed his heavy bolter, its rhythmic thunder shredding an Ork mob charging from a collapsed hab block. Lurak's servoarm crushed a greenskin's spine as it lunged with a cleaver, but his hesitation cost him. A stray slugger round grazed his helm, staggering him. "Focus, whelp," Korrak snarled, dragging Lurak behind a slab of ferrocrete. Calvus, the apothecary, was already at his side, scanning for damage with his narthesium. Ahead, the manufactorum loomed, its adamantine gates battered, but intact. Red-robed tech priests manned lascannons atop the walls, their fire barely holding back the Ork tide. Korrak's optics locked onto a massive figure in the distance, an Ork warboss, clad in looted armor, wielding a power claw that sparked with stolen energy. The beast roared, rallying its mob for another assault. "Target the leader," Korrak commanded. "We end this now or the core falls." The Iron Talons advanced, their steps unyielding, as the warboss turned its beady eyes toward them. Chapter 3. The plaza erupted into a storm of violence as the Iron Talons clashed with the Ork horde. Brother Sergeant Korrak led the charge, his power sword humming as it carved through greenskin flesh. The warboss loomed ahead, its power claw snapping through a Skitaria's chassis like parchment. "For the Omnissiah," Korrak roared, his squad tightening formation behind him. Bolter fire raked the Ork ranks, but the Xenos pressed forward, driven by savage glee. Brother Torvax anchored the line, his heavy bolters roared, drowning out the war cries. Orks fell in droves, yet more surged from the smoke, their numbers seemingly endless. Lurak, still shaken from his earlier stumble, fought with grim determination, his server arm smashing skulls while his bolter spat death. Korrak noted the boy's resolve, but saw the strain in his movements. Flesh was weak, and Lurak's augmentations were too few. Valther and Dren flanked left, cutting a path through a knot of orcs wielding crude flamers. Calvus, ever vigilant, extracted gene seed from a fallen Skitaria, his hands steady even as shrapnel pinged off his armor. The manufactorum's gates were close now, but the warboss barred the way, its claw raised in challenge. Puny ummies, it bellowed, stomping forward, its looted armor sparking with misfired energy. Korrak met the beast head-on, his sword clashing against the claw in a shower of sparks. The warboss was fast, unnaturally so, its bulk belying its speed. Korrak's bionic arm whined under the strain as he parried a blow that could have sheared him in two. Torvax, suppress the mob, he voxed. Lurak with me. The young marine hesitated for a split second before charging, his server arm aimed at the warboss's flank. The gates loomed behind, their lascannons silent now, the tech priests overrun. Time was running out. Chapter 4, the warboss's power claw swung down, grazing Korrak's pauldron and leaving a jagged scar across the ceramite. Brother Sergeant Korrak ducked under another blow, his power sword slashing into the orc's armored thigh, drawing a spray of foul blood. Lurak struck from the side, his server arm clamping onto the warboss's claw, but the greenskin roared and hurled him back, cracking his chest plate. "Stay down, boy," Korrak barked, though his vox betrayed a flicker of concern. Torvax's heavy bolter kept the orc mob at bay, its rounds tearing through Xeno's flesh, but ammunition runes blinked red on Korrak's display. Valther and Dren fought their way to the manufactorum gates, cutting down stragglers, while Calvus dragged Lurak to cover, injecting stims to keep him conscious. The apothecary's voice was grim over the vox. "He'll live, but he's no use like this." Korrak parried another crushing strike, his bionic arm straining against the warboss's strength. The beast laughed, its tusked maw dripping with spittle. "Gonna crump you, tin man," it roared. Korrak saw an opening, its looted armor sparked erratically, a weak joint at the shoulder. He feinted low, then drove his sword upward, piercing the gap. The warboss howled, stumbling, and Korrak pressed the attack, severing its claw arm with a final swing. The orc mob faltered as their leader fell, giving the Iron Talons a moment to regroup. Korrak led them through the gates, Torvax laying down covering fire. Inside, the manufactorum was a labyrinth of shattered machinery, but the plasma core still hummed, guarded by a lone tech priest. "The Omnissiah be praised," the priest intoned, activating the core's defenses. As klaxons blared and the orcs rallied outside, Korrak looked to Lurak, now standing, battered but unbowed. "The machine endures," Korrak said. "And so must we." The Iron Talons braced for the next wave, their resolve as unyielding as steel. Epilogue: the skies of Arcturus IV remained blackened with smoke, but silence had settled over the manufactorum. The Iron Talons stood by the plasma core, their armor scarred from battle, as the tech priests resumed their rituals to restore the world's machine spirit. Brother Lurak, now under Calvus's care, had proven his resolve, but his weakness had been exposed. Korrak knew the boy would need further augmentations to fully serve the chapter. Above, the Iron Salvation returned to orbit, ready to carry them to the next battlefield. The orc horde was broken, but the war in the Imperium was eternal. Korrak clenched his bionic fist, his thoughts already on future conflicts. "The machine endures," he whispered, and his brothers echoed his words. Arcturus IV was secured, but the cost of humanity's survival was always paid in blood and steel.